Dane Scott from Dane Scott's Truckers Lounge. This is installation part 2 on messing with the heavy Chevy.
Try it again.
Yep. The 71 C90 Chevy Dump. So what we're doing, we're messing with some metal and some rusts.
Painted sky in a sunset scene, through the window of a GMC. White lines and lighted signs got me hypnotized. There's nothing like the feel of the road and the smell of the diesel smoke. Another 10 or 20 miles, I'll be rolling in. This thing.
So let's get this show on the road, shall we?
13 years, just laying it down, driving my GMC. Yeah, you know what I mean.
I want to make sure that you know about the GMC Jamboree Truck Show that's happening June 3rd of this year, 2023, in Conneaut, Ohio. And I'm going to post the flyer here so that you can see it and just screenshot it or just pause your video so you can read all the goodies on it. But the important thing to know is that we're having the show and that there's going to be space for vendors. So we're going to have 10 by 10 areas because most of the awnings that people buy these days to protect from the sun that you can put up real easy, they're about 10 by 10. So we're going to have 10 by 10 spaces for vendors. So if you got parts to sell, bring your old parts. And the show is a GMC show, but it's also open to any make, you know, because we love all old trucks, but it is a GMC featured show. So GMC made big trucks. The last year they made them, technically it was 87, but 88. Some were titled 88s. So from 88, 87 back, any year truck is fine. So if you want some vendor space, make sure you get a hold of me. The information is on the flyer there, so just take a look at that. The second show I want to let you guys know about and to plan for is at the end of June. The Jamboree is June 3rd, and then the last weekend of the month, and I'm going to post the flyer, you'll see it right here, is the Ohio Vintage Truck Reunion. It's a Antique Truck Historical Society show. Goes on every year. Killer show. I've put videos on here of it. And they have moved it, and so just so that you make note, it always was on Father's Day weekend, which was kind of not competitive, but at the same time as the ATCA's show over in Macungie, which is a killer show too. So it's nice. It's been moved to the last weekend in June, so they don't conflict. So make sure you take note of that. Read the flyer, and of course, I'll be at that show with my awning and table, and my buddies will be there to help me kind of greet people and enjoy the show. So take note of that show as well. This video is brought to you by BRUNT, transforming high-performing workwear. There ain't no flip-flops in this truck. Okay, one more show to tell you about, and I should have put this one first because this one's in May, and this is a new show, and it's put on by the Buckeye Vintage Haulers, and it was sent to me. So this is going to be their first annual Buckeye Truck Show, and it's going to be at the Hartford Fairgrounds in Croton, C-R-O-T-O-N, Ohio, which is mid-Ohio, I think. So that day, May 13th. So mark your calendars, and if you want more information on that one, they are on Facebook. So check out Buckeye Vintage Haulers on Facebook and Instagram, it looks like. They're on there, so check that show out too. So May 13th, June 3rd, and the last weekend in June. Those dates escape me, but the last weekend in June is in Ashland. So those three we got going already, and I'll keep adding more. So now, let's get to working on this C90. Get another cup of coffee, and let's get on it. So, as you guys probably know, who are familiar with the 9500 C90 series, these trucks, the floors like to rust. I mean, actually, any old truck likes to rust. If you let it sit outside and it gets rained on, and especially if you got carpet in it, that carpet gets wet and it sits for years sometimes. So you need to do something with the cab. Now this floor has got some issues, but it's not bad issues. It's all repairable. It's still solid, but it's got a lot of rust. So what we're doing, we've got us from Tractor Supply this rust cutter spray, which neutralizes, it's got a couple different acids in it, I believe, the rust. See how it's turning white as it's drying? So that's what I'm doing. You can see there's some holes here, but the rest of it's pretty solid. That was where the seat was at, and of course wet carpet. But the rest of it is all pretty darn solid. Doghouse needs some work at the bottom, but we'll get all that. And so what I'm doing first is neutralizing the rust. Let that dry overnight or longer if it takes, you know. We'll let it dry. I'll brush off the white stuff, I think, and then put, they say, another coat. So that's what I'll do. And then when that's all dry, I will paint it with a good, probably Rust-Oleum product, because that's what I use, and never had any problems so far, so I'm very happy with Rust-Oleum. And none of these companies endorse me, just so you know. This is what I use. Use something else if you want. But so that's what we're doing there. I'll show you the metal I've got here for the floors. This is some pretty meaty stuff. You can hear it. That is 16 gauge. That's going on the floor. And then I went to Tractor Supply and bought, I didn't have much of a choice. I guess they were kind of sold out of some, but this is actually, this is 22 gauge, which is a little light, but still, this is going to go around the base of the doghouse, okay? And I'll form it around there. I've already cut the notches and everything. Use my plasma cutter. Cool little ditty. They're very handy for guys like me. They're not too expensive. I think they're like $400 or $500. You can get them like at Jegs. Maybe Summit has some. eBay. I mean, you can get them a lot of places. They're all Chinese. But anyways, they work pretty good. So I ain't gonna complain. And so that's what we'll be doing. And I'm thinking, since the gap here is kind of not good, what I will do, I will first probably shape this to the doghouse, and then I will either screw it or use the 3/16 rivets. I'll probably just rivet it, get it over with, and I will epoxy that. And what I'll do is I'll run epoxy on here on the top, and then these pieces of metal, the floor metal, once it's cut to shape, will sit right on top of it, and then I'll rivet through a couple of these, and then that'll hold it all together real nice. Floor and sides around the doghouse, and then once it's all painted, then I'll seal along the top, probably silicone, whatever, and it'll all be nice. So that's how we're going to do it. And then I'll attack the door skins. I already know how I'm going to do that, so no problem there. Although this door is pretty solid, not bad, not bad. But the skin's separated, so actually I think they did some work on it before. So I'm going to take that crap off of there. So hey, check it out. Is this not starting to look Like Astro Vader? Yeah. Remember Astro Vader, my 79 Astro? I loved the way it looked. And got to thinking to myself, if I don't make this an anchor clanker, which is what it is, if I don't paint it back to it, remove the dump, if I keep the dump, I may paint the cab white and do the green stripes just like Astro Vader was, because that was a great color combination. The Alpine green stripes with the gold pinstriping, white cab, and blacked out wheels with just the chrome neck covers and bearing cover. Yeah. At least that's what I'm thinking right now. Welcome back. Okay, so got the floors ready with undercoating. A little mess there I got to clean up. But everything is prepped and undercoated. So now we're going to start along the bottom of the doghouse and fix that. And I showed you how I cut this piece of 22 gauge. So we've got 16 gauge steel here, and we've got it bolted to the floor underneath the good areas, and also went around the doghouse here with this piece, and the floor piece that sits on top of it. It was epoxied and riveted. So, and then I will be smoothing this, grinding this off, and we'll use fiberglass and resin to make that smooth and nice. So it'll all look nice. And this will be a second piece that will be bent. It'll be in this shape, and it'll come up over, and down. I don't know how far back we're going to come here. And then after that's down, I'll be putting plate steel, maybe 3/16, say, plate steel right across here to mount the seat back in. And I probably will use the original seat. We'll just get her recovered, get her cleaned up because it's functional working, and trying to save the beans right now. You know, it's easy to spend a lot of beans on a project, but I like projects where somebody used their ingenuity. You know, when you look at somebody's truck at a truck show, the trucks that are perfect and got all the, you know, just all the high dollar stuff on them, they're nice. But to me, I like looking at the trucks where somebody was frugal and used their own ideas, and you look at it and you go, hey, I wish I would have thought of that. That's a cool idea. So will I put a better seat in? Probably, but not right away. I'm going to fix and, you know, do what I do. Do the trucker's lounge treatment on it. So anyway, that's where we're working. Also doing some work up at the top of the windshield here, which is typical rust area for these 9500s. Got that all epoxied and riveted in, and then it'll be smoothed off, taken care of. So everything will be kind of nice, and I'll do my usual to the dash. All those gauges will come out. I'll get them cleaned up, the rust off them, redo the wood grain. Yeah, it's going to look nice, trust me. And I got to thank Braden Tucker again from Tucker Equipment in Lisbon, Ohio. He's got all the great old school trucks that he's always buying, especially the Ford Louisvilles. But he's got all kinds of stuff, the Internationals, the Transtars, Paystars. He's got it. So if you're looking for a vintage truck, you get a hold of Braden Tucker. He also runs the Facebook page Dying Breed Diesels, so you can find him on there, or you can look up Tucker Equipment in Lisbon and get yourself hooked up with old school trucks. So anyways, Braden's the one that supplied me with the killer hood that had the, see it? That had the emblems for me. So we got the emblems on there. And of course, you guys saw in the last video the grill and getting the Astro Vader bumper installed. Still got a little metal work to do to get it where I want it. So the next issue that we dealt with this week was when I moved this truck inside, you know, we put in the brake line for the clutch master cylinder, and it was a hard line all the way down to the slave cylinder, and we thought the slave cylinder was fine. Turns out it wasn't. It was sketchy. So we put in a new slave cylinder, And this week we had to cut that solid brake line in half and put in a hydraulic line so that there's flex between the engine and the frame. You got to have that. So Mr. Wizard did his magic and gave me a hand with that. So there's the flexible line now that's in and goes down to the slave cylinder. So that's all taken care of, and we got our clutch adjusted. We've got just enough play to keep it off the throwout bearing. I am looking for a return spring because that was a little weak, but that's all we got to do to finish that up. Okay, so the floor on this side is much better than it was on the driver's side, of course. However, there was a piece of metal, sheet metal here that I took out. It wasn't strong enough, so I'm going to put in my 16 gauge over that and fix that. And then the floors will all be done. And of course, I'll be addressing all this. We'll be taking that out and fixing the bottom of the doors, cap corners, so on and so forth. But here's the fly in the ointment. This tank started leaking, and it's leaking pretty good, which, okay, leaks better, I get it empty quicker. But what we're going to do is we're going to take that off and re-weld the parts that are leaking and then fiberglass it, so it's got the whammy, the old 1-2. So we'll just fix that and put it back on because I want to keep the truck's character. I don't want to change out tanks, change out cabs, change out hoods. I want the truck to keep its character because it's a former anchor clanker. And you can watch the other videos to see how I know that. Got the mirrors done. Put my normal hash stripes, which are old school. That's what they used to do. So I got those taken care of. And as far as the dump goes, right now at this point I'm keeping the dump box on it. That could change, you know, because I do change my mind. You guys know that. And finally, we're going to be addressing the exhaust. I've got all the pieces I need here. We're going to keep the 4-inch exhaust coming off of the engine into the down pipe, straight pipe, which will bring it out behind the tank. Then the elbow will go on it, and then the 4-inch to 5-inch will go on, and the rest of the exhaust going up the side of the truck will be 5 inches coming up, and the typical dump stack that goes out and then straight up. And last but not least, we will put a flapper on it. Yeah. Right there. Boom, boom. So, yeah. And it's looking like the lights that I got for the Brigadier are what we're going to use on here. So I'm not sure whether we're going up with the extra light or down. Probably down, so that it shines down. Well, let's see, this would be on this side. So that's what I'm thinking. I don't mind, because this truck's going to be a little custom. Already is custom, right? With the bumper and the way I'm going to do it up. And then I got something very special coming. You guys probably saw that. So that's all I'm going to say about that. But I like making my trucks unique. Not unique, unique. So if I liked unique, I wouldn't put a stack on it. You guys get my meaning. A truck must have a stack. That's Dane Scott's rule. All semis must have an upstack. Grass burners are not allowed in the trucker's lounge. So that's a wrap on part 2 of the Heavy Chevy and the upcoming shows. So make sure you peruse all that great information. And listen, we're blessed here in, well, I always call it northeastern United States. I guess Ohio's considered Midwestern, whatever. But in this part of the nation, we seem to have the most truck shows because people are telling me all the time, like down south and out west a little bit, that we don't have all the truck shows you guys have. So we're blessed up here, so take advantage. And in the meantime, when you're going down the road, keep the hammer down, safe and sound.